What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. It's Ron here. Hope you guys are doing very well today. If you're hanging out with me for the first time, do your boy a favor. Please consider subscribing to the channel and also drop a quick like for the video. I would totally appreciate that. So, guys, lots of things I want to talk to you guys about. Now, you guys have probably already heard about what the banks are preparing to do. And if you haven't, let me get you guys up to speed. So, the banks, four of the largest banks, you got Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Citibank. These guys are preparing for something big here. And if you are not prepared, like the banks are prepared, you could be in a potentially really rough situation. Now, in conjunction with that, I'm already observing what the Fed is doing, what the Fed is preparing, right? So you guys could probably check out one of my previous videos. Basically, they're trying to eliminate foreclosures. The Federal Reserve, the banking system, central banks, Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, my bad. They are preparing for something big, and they have data that we don't have access to. Let's just say that, right? And so the question is, what are they preparing for, and how can we better prepare ourselves, right? So you can check out my previous video, but basically they're making it so that people, almost can't foreclose or get foreclosed on. And obviously there's going to be some exceptions to that, but they're creating some, let's just say, quantitative easing, so to speak, in preparation for what they feel is coming down the pipeline. In addition to that, now this is just the Fed. This is just Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac teaming up, preventing in an attempt to try to prevent what's coming down the pipeline. Now, what is coming down the pipeline? Essentially, the banks are preparing for people not being able to afford their mortgages. They're preparing for borrowers not to be able to make credit card payments and car payments. They're preparing for a certain degree or a certain amount of foreclosures, automobile repossessions, delinquencies on loan payments. And so I wanted to share this information because a lot of people are just kind of with their head in the sand, not aware of what's going on right now. Now you got to ask yourself, why would Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank, big banks like this, not to mention smaller regional banks and credit unions, be preparing for these losses? You gotta ask yourself this, right? Now, what these banks are doing is they're setting aside billions upon billions of dollars of loan loss reserves. Why are they doing this? There's a reason, guys. Now, the Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates for like the last 18 months very aggressively. June 2023, this month, the Federal Reserve came together and basically said, hey, we're going to do a pause this month. We're not going to be raising interest rates. However, they did signal that going into the remainder of 2023, we should likely see some additional rate hikes. Now, we've already seen 4 major banks in the United States collapse. And whether this was intentional, whether this is a concerted effort to consolidate banks, I think that the Federal Reserve wants to ensure that the banking system doesn't entirely collapse. I think they're kind of okay with a couple of banks failing, but at the same time, the Federal Reserve doesn't want to have complete anarchy and have everyone pull their money out of the bank because they don't trust the banking system. So I don't think that, I think the Fed wants to avoid that, and the FDIC has made sure that people did not lose money in the banks that did fail. But basically, the banks' actions are a symptom of the economy softening. Simple fact of the matter is, it's the labor market, it's the job market right now that is keeping this economy afloat. And if that job market actually starts to get a little bit weaker or shows signs of weakening, we could potentially see we could see some really bad things happen, including a recession, or perhaps even worse if unemployment rises and job losses continue to occur. But again, the economy is being held up by a very strong economy, a very strong labor market. Now, you got to remember, banks are making profit, big bank, off of your money that you're leaving in your checking account and your savings account, right? They're taking that money and they're lending it out into higher yielding investments, generally speaking, higher risk investments. And so they're making money off the money that you've left in their trust. In addition to that, they're paying you pennies on a dollar. So it's kind of like, okay, they're making the spread. They're taking full advantage of this arbitrage here, which is basically pay you less than 1% for the money you leave with them. Meanwhile, inflation's at 4, 5, 6% right now. But at the same time, they're going to take that money and lend it out to people who need to buy a house. They're going to lend it out at 6, 7% interest rates on the mortgage payments, right? Meanwhile, they're collateralizing the properties. They're collateralizing the homes and investment properties that people are using this money for. They're also taking your money out of the bank and investing it into providing credit limits, lines of credit to credit cards. Most banks issue their own credit cards. And so chances are, if you look at your terms and conditions on your credit card statement, you'll see that if you don't pay your balance off at the end of the month, every single month, you're going to be charged with interest. And that interest rate is, generally speaking, somewhere between 17 to 30% interest. Meanwhile, that same money that they allowed people to have this credit card with or have this line of credit through is money from your bank account. So they are paying you less than 1%. Meanwhile, probably charging you 30% interest if you're carrying a credit card balance, right? So this is just some of what's happening here with the banks, guys. And the banks are concerned that borrowers may not be able to continue to make the payments that they've been making and fulfill the obligations. They're worried that credit card holders may not be able to continue to make their minimum payments. And so this is why they have these billions of dollars set aside for these loan loss reserves. And this is going to definitely have a tremendous impact on the bank's profitability, because the bank's profits are tied to the interest income that they generate from lending money. Now, here's the other thing. What if the bank's expectations are a little off, right? So like, let's just say they set aside billions of dollars for, these loan loss reserves. But what if the losses are significantly greater than what their expectations are? How do you think that's going to affect the bank stocks, right? This is not going to be a good sign for the banks. And this could actually leave more banks to be potentially insolvent. More on that in future videos. Now, you got to ask yourself, is your bank safe? What are you and your family doing to protect yourself, right? Now, there's a lot of risk for delinquencies and charge-offs, and these delinquencies and charge-offs hitting the bank's balance sheets will definitely have a tremendous impact on the bank's stock prices if the defaults happen to exceed the reserves. All right. Now, a little bit of, financial education. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not any of these things, right? So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm just sharing with you guys my own personal experiences. By the way, if you made it this far in this video, do your boy a favor, drop a quick like for the video. Also share this video with somebody who needs to hear this. Because now I want to talk to you guys about what we can do to prepare ourselves for what could be coming down the pipeline. Worst case scenario, you'll be ready. Best case scenario, nothing bad happens and you'll be miles ahead of the game, right? Now, there's urgency. There's a lot of urgency to address high interest credit card and loan debt. So usually credit cards, in most Americans' wallets and whatnot, carry the highest interest that they're paying, right? So if you're paying interest, this is literally holding you back from building wealth. You will never get wealthy paying more in interest than you're earning. All right. So if your bank account's paying you 1%, 2%, even if your bank was paying 5% interest, if your credit card bill is charging you freaking 19, 20, 30% interest, you're losing money. So the first thing that I would do is I would be trying to get out of debt. Eliminate high yield, high interest credit card debt immediately. That's what I would be doing. I would be eliminating And then the cool thing about credit cards is your minimum payment. Like when you do a budget and you look at how much money you got to pay every single month, your out of all of your bills, your variable, what is it? Your variable lines of credit, those types of bills will be altered by how much debt you owe. So, for example, if you owe $10,000 on your credit card, maybe your minimum payment's like $200 a month. But cool thing is if you pay that credit card down, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Home Depot, Walmart credit cards, Macy's credit cards, Amazon credit cards, it doesn't matter. Your credit card minimum payment is based on how much your total balance owed is, right? So cool thing is about credit cards is when you pay that total balance down, you're lowering how much your minimum payment is. So when you do your budget, assuming you have a budget, and if you don't, you need to get one. You need to build one, and let me know if you guys need me to kind of walk you through how to set that up, and don't let people try to tell you that budgets are for broke people. Those are people who think budgets are for broke people are probably broke themselves. I'm gonna just say that right now. Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Home Depot, you name any company period that's making money and is successful, they have a budget. So you can't tell me $1 billion company that has a budget is broke. Companies that are profiting. Look at ExxonMobil, billions of dollars every freaking 3 months. Profit has a budget. So the next time someone tells you that budgets are for broke people, remind them of these basic principles and basic facts. Anyway, I digress, right? Create a budget. Now, when you look at your budget, you're going to look at what your income looks like versus what your expenses are, right? Now, we always want to work on increasing our incomes, creating multiple streams of income, investing in profitable investments, the stock market, index funds, ETFs, online businesses, home-based businesses, essentially real estate, anything that's going to increase in value over time. We want to acquire assets. Now, when you create your budget, you got your income. Most people only have one stream of income, and that's okay. You start off with one, but you can build these streams over time. So most people get paid twice a month, maybe 4 times a month if they get paid weekly from their 9 to 5 job. Now, me personally, I'm a big fan of creating multiple streams of income, and I think some months I get paid almost every single day. Now, if you guys want to learn more about that, definitely hit me up. You can join me over in the Patreon community. I'll leave some links for you guys in the description down below to learn more about that. But anyway, you want to create your budget, and at the very top of your budget, you want to indicate how much income you have, right? So let's just say your income is, I don't know, like $5,000 a month, right? Maybe your expenses are $4,000 a month. So that means you have $1,000 left over between your income versus your expenses. And with that extra $1,000, you can pay off debt. You can take that money. You can take that $1,000 to invest. You can take that money to build your emergency fund. There's a lot you can do with that extra surplus of capital, right? But what you do with that money is very, very important. Another thing, if you are paying down your credit cards, for example, right? Let's just say you owe 10 grand on that credit card. Minimum payment's probably somewhere in the ballpark of $200 a month. If you pay that credit card down, your minimum payment goes down. And how does this affect your budget? Well, if you paid your $10,000 credit card down to $9,000, using that extra $1,000 per month to reduce the balance on that credit card, number one, you have now effectively saved probably anywhere between 19 and 30% on that balance you paid down, because you're no longer going to be paying interest on that $1,000 you paid down. So that's almost the equivalent net benefit of making 19 or 30% of your money by simply saving 19 or 30% in credit card interest payments. Next, as you do that, your $10,000 balance is now $9,000 on your credit card. And your minimum payment has now been reduced from, I don't know, hypothetically $200 to maybe $185 or maybe $180, right? So it reduced your minimum payment by $20. Now your $4,000 in expenses on your budget is now $3,000, $980, right? So what you're seeing here is as you're paying that credit card balance down, you're actually lowering how much monthly expenses you have on your budget. You now have an extra $1,020 that you can now put toward reducing your debt. Me personally, I would work on high interest credit card debt reduction first, and then look to invest in other investment vehicles and assets such as real estate. And I know you're thinking, oh, well, if you only have $1,000, what real estate can you invest in? Well, number one, there's FHA loans available that you can invest in, or excuse me, that you can get with minimal down payments, usually around 3% for first time home buyers. There's REITs or real estate investment trusts. And I know a lot of people are like, well, with the commercial mortgage situation and the commercial real estate market the way it is, I don't want to invest in REITs. Well, you don't have to invest in REITs that invest in commercial real estate. You can invest in REITs that focus on residential. So I'll save that for another topic, for another day. But the cool thing about REITs is that to be a REIT, they are legally obligated to pay out like 90% of the profits to the shareholders. So that means the dividend payments are usually pretty freaking aggressive. So I love REITs. I love getting paid from real estate investment trusts every freaking month, every freaking quarter, whatever the payment schedule is. And the more REITs you own, the larger your payouts are going to be. So, can you invest in real estate with $100? Of course. Yes, you can. Anyway, so again, I would be working on eliminating that debt. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I remember when we became debt free, maybe like 2011. I think we were debt free except for the house by 2011. No car payments, no credit card payments, no credit card bills. We had, basically everything paid off. It was the most liberating feeling in the world. And then on top of that, knowing we had, 2 years of emergency fund built up, it was like, it was just like one of the most empowering feelings. So this is what I want for you guys. I want you guys to get to a position where no matter what is going on in the economy, no matter what is going on with interest rates and inflation, whether there's a recession or not, having the financial freedom and peace to be able to live your life without worrying about if you're going to lose your job, what are you going to do next, right? I want to help more people to become empowered and to empower themselves to change their family tree and put themselves in a much better financial situation. So, anyway, these are some things I would be doing right now. I'll be doing these two things right now. So if this video resonated with you, drop a thumbs up for the video. Also share this video with someone you care about. And subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. Check out my other videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, by the way, definitely check out the links in the description down below. I've left a lot of helpful links for you guys in your financial freedom building process. Y'all be safe.